So let's get into the presentation. I'm just going to go through it and then I'll hit everything. Now, a lot of people are getting this confused today. So I want to make sure I'm very accurate for you guys because this is confusing. So if you are confused about what went down and what happened, pay very close attention to what I'm going to say today. Because this is the details and the procedure is important. And what is going to screw Johnny is that he has no idea about the procedure. We're going to explain it today on this stream because he's been talking all sort of smack like he knows what's going to happen. In fact, this is a great one. I'm going to play this clip. He said he was going to go to court and plead insanity. I'm not making this up. Let me pull this up here real quick, right? Yeah, so he said he was going to go, look at this. This is from his drunk stream. He said he was going to make a plea of insanity. Let's watch this.
When I go to the judge tomorrow and say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm mentally ill.
By the way, he was drunk, and I believe he made a comment that he might have been high/on pills. So this is, by the way, all this is going to be saved. I have all of this. It's going to the prosecution. Don't worry, guys.
I don't know what's going on. I have a bipolar disorder. And what may I do? I left my medication in America. I don't know what's happening, Your Honor. Please help me. I am a psychopath. I plead mentally insane. And they say, okay, go home with a fine of $500. What is this gonna say?
Well, I think I'm that ninja he was talking about because he was just like, he was pretty much coping and seething and targeting me his whole stream last night. What I'm going to say is that didn't happen, Johnny. You're stuck here. You don't even have your next trial date to even plead guilty or whatever the hell else you want to do. You don't even have that for another month. And then it's going to be way longer until this trial is over, even if you plead guilty. Oh, it was so good. It was so good to see him just absolutely get smacked in the face, realizing he knew nothing. That's what you get when you get law advice from Hank. Let's get into the recap. And I'm going to start from the beginning of my PowerPoint. So he was 1 hour late. He lied to his lawyer. He said he was going to get there in 15 to 20 minutes. He took an hour. He also said he had a stomach ache. And when he showed up, he was clearly intoxicated and or hung over something. And what I have a little hypothesis that perhaps his lawyer saw him or heard him and was like, yo, you need to sober up. That's a little hypothesis. He was not looking good. He was not looking good at all. So 1 hour late. And of course, he comes in. Let me skip the MAGA hat for now. It's Johnny and Hank forever. Okay. So they're together and you could have sworn they were so close together, Johnny and Hank, that you could have sworn they were holding hands. I mean, really, there's an attachment going between those two. Now, mind you, it has been confirmed they live together. And one little surprise of the proceedings, which I didn't mention, I wanted to get a laugh. I didn't mention this, is at one point during the trial, they ask you your address in Korean. And Johnny didn't know it. He's like, oh, I live in Songpa, in this area. I don't know where it is because I don't know, I don't know. And then they ask him, well, do you know the apartment number? And he goes, I don't know Korean. And this is great. This is great. So he says, do you know the apartment number? And Johnny says, I don't know it in Korean. You know what the judge says? Say it in English. Because the judge understands numbers in English, understands 1 and 5 and whatever else, right? I'm not going to dox them, I'm not going to dox the Jamshil office tel they live in. I don't want to give away anything or violate any TOS or anything. I'm just saying, he couldn't even say numbers. This guy was clearly coming off as an idiot. And you saw the judge is a master of not giving away their expression. They're a master of not wearing it on their face. But you could tell he thought he was an idiot, right? The way he said it is the words. But they were definitely attached to the hip. And one other thing was, let me go here. Johnny's outfit. His suit looked like this. He was wearing a white suit that was like 3 sizes too big. It was clearly Hank's suit. He was clearly wearing Hank's suit. It was like a white suit. It was absolutely hilarious. And beyond that, let's go back here for a second. He came in a MAGA hat. Now, once again, whether or not, I don't care about people's politics, whatever. He's doing it as a stunt. He doesn't believe in any politics, by the way. He uses, whatever politics try to benefit him. He came in a MAGA hat. He was told 3 times to take the hat off. And by the way, before we came, I actually told Atozi behind the scenes, I'm like, bro, I know you're a hat dude, but like, you can't wear your hat in the court. And he's like, oh, I got it. We're cool. So he took off his beanie. And by the way, Atozi is like a totally different guy without his hat. I wouldn't recognize him. Totally different guy. Cool guy though. I love it. So, our crew has the hats off. No, and I don't wear a hat, but some other guys do. And he comes in wearing the MAGA hat. The bailiff tells him to take it off. He proceeds to cross the barrier because there's a barrier where the audience is and the lawyers are. And he's trying to look back at me. And he puts back the hat back on. And I swear to God, the bailiff almost took it off his head, almost slapped it off his head. It was bad. He then proceeded, in the midst of this, to try to sit where the interpreter sits. And they kept explaining to him, no, you need to sit over there. He also kept fumbling with this water bottle. And they're like, don't do that. And his hands were in his pockets, which in Korea is super rude. So he kept his hands in his pockets while he was speaking. And when he went up to go forward, there's kind of the bar, where there's a little, wooden structure that kind of blocks the audience from the lawyers and everybody else. We call it the bar, right? Because it blocks you. It's like a little gate. Hank was trying to go with him. You could tell there was a serious, like near romantic look in his eye of like, I just can't quit you, Johnny. And he wanted to go forward. But the thing is, Hank can barely speak regular Korean, much less English. His mastery of both languages is questionable. You have to qualify as a court interpreter. You have to have a high level of fluency. They test you, and you also have to make certain oaths that you're competent, that you've experienced, and that whatever you say, if you say it wrong, you can be held liable. Right? So Hank wanted to be his guy, but he couldn't. And Johnny was like given this longing look. They had this weird exchange where they looked at each other. It was very, very weird. But overall, his body language and trying to wear that hat multiple times was extraordinarily rude. And that's how he started off. All right. So I got that. Okay. Ramsey came in the door. And the first thing he does he doesn't see me right away because I'm in the back corner. And I wasn't facing him. I was facing forward. And so Hank, walks in behind Johnny. I think he's used to that. And he's looking at the other people. They're all looking around. And Hank is himself. But Ramsey looks at me and he does this face. He looks directly at me and does that. And he really thinks he's getting off that day. I think he really thinks he's getting off that day. He's super giddy. He's like excited. He's like, oh, everyone's here for me. I'm the center of attention. Yeah. He's like a child, literally a child. So he goes up. He's sitting next to his lawyer. Everybody's looking at him. The bailiff, his defense lawyer, the judge is looking at him, the stenographers, the media. He looks at me and sticks his tongue out. Looks directly at me and sticks his tongue out. Crazy. And everybody sees it. The judge saw it. Right? And it's like, all right, Ramsey. And I was laughing. I was like laughing my ass off because I'm like, I'm not on trial here, buddy. You are. Right? I can laugh. I can do what I want. Now I can't be loud or disrespectful, but I can smile. I can do whatever I want in the galley, as long as it's not loud or disrespectful. But he, on the other hand, he's the one on trial here. He's the one who's got a potential criminal sentence for a lot of years. So here's what happened. He starts thinking he's going to walk out of here. And as soon as the judge starts asking him questions, he realizes, oh, fuck, this is real. And he goes 100% shock Pikachu face. It was night and day. You could see he was laughing, thinking he was going to get out of things. Shock Pikachu face. He was just hit with a ton of bricks. And there was a point at which, when they were going over the charges, which we'll go over in a second, we're going to really explain the charges. I'm going to really explain this carefully for you guys. When he realized his own lawyer didn't know about one of the charges that's against him in the Eastern Court. The new one that I covered, that only I covered, that he said I was making up or whatever, they didn't know about it at all. He didn't know about it. He had no information. He had nothing printed out. He's found out, baby. He found out. So that's why the next trial is on April 9th. By the way, the next date for the trial is April 9th. I told you guys this was going to be spaced out over months. And on that day, all he will do is choose whether to plead not guilty or guilty to the next obstruction charge. We do not know what that obstruction charge is for. Now, I'm going to explain to you what the other charges are for, because it's very, very important that you guys know accurate information about the charges. Okay? But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit more about his shock Pikachu face here real quick. Because it wasn't just limited to talking about the charges. He didn't know his address. He also lied to the judge. He said he was a student. So they asked, what is your job? He said he's a student. Okay? He said he's a student. And now Johnny Somali is being very flippant. Number one, where is he studying? Show me anywhere he's studying. Nowhere. But he's being very flippant about working. And I'm going to show you guys what he said about working in Korea and how he thinks he doesn't care and it doesn't matter and he's going to work no matter what they say. Watch this clip of him. This is from his drunken, once again, his such a good idea, 3 a.m. drunken stream. Look at this unhinged man. This man is mentally broken. This is a man that we have crushed his soul.
Make bread. If these niggas lock me in the country, I'm gonna make bread. I don't give a. Send that shit to the prosecutor.
We will, Johnny. We will. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, little buddy. Don't you worry, little buddy. We got you.
Live stream donators, they gonna get in rich and oiled because they feel bad that I've been locked here. Nigga snitching. Johnny Somali is making money. Yeah, bitch, don't lock me in the fucking country, Korean corrupt government.
I wonder how the judge and prosecutor are going to feel about being called corrupt.
If the government don't want me to work, I'm not working, I'm streaming. That's two different things.
No, it's not.
I could be in Home Depot or selling my booyah.
Well, he is doing the latter. I mean, he's in Hank's place. So Hank has stated his price. So we know he's doing the latter.
That's working. Shut the up. Nigga, I don't give a.
See, so this is, yes, that's Johnny Somali. And his quote about, he's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. All right. Let me continue here with the charges. So we're going to explain this very carefully. Okay. And I want you guys to really pay attention to this. There's going to be a test at the end. Okay. Okay. So in this court, this is the West Court. We're in the West Court. And in case you guys forgot, there's a difference between where he committed these crimes and other crimes. So Hongdae is where these crimes, the red dot is where these crimes went down. This is the criminal maps sheet, PowerPoint. I've played this one before, the red dot and the green dot, okay? Red dot is Hongdae. That's where this courthouse is near, and that's where most of these crimes were committed. Jamshil, there were other crimes committed, and that's also where Hank lives, and he has been staying with Hank for the majority of this. And many of the crimes went down in Jamshil, okay? That's the Eastern District, so they have different courts. So we're in the West District, which you see number 8. We're in number 8. The East, where Hank lives, is number 4, which is Songpa-gu. It's in a neighborhood called Jamsil, right? It's east of Gangnam, where I am. I'm in Gangnam. Right there in Songpa, right? My apartment's nicer, though. I guarantee. Yeah, COEX is in Gangnam. It's near Bunggungsa, which is one of my favorite temples. Middle of the city. It's beautiful. So here's the thing. I told you guys that there can be multiple cases going on in different districts. So what has been confirmed is there is a 5th charge that nobody knew about till stupid Ramsey decided to get drunk and talk shit, specifically talking shit about me, saying I don't know anything, whatever. He then proceeded to show he flashed a certain thing across the screen. And that was this document. When he was drunk last night, he flashed this document across the screen. Now, I know not everybody is fluent in Korean, so I'm going to tell you what it says. Hold on. The sharing may be a little buggy, so let me see if this works fine. Okay, let's see. Did that work out? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna open and close this. Okay, let's stop sharing. And then cancel that. Okay, cool. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Here we go. Here it is. So last night he was showing his chat. He's like, I have the paperwork. And he flashed this. Now, my Korean brothers and sisters, you can read this. But what this is this is something from the Eastern District. I'm going to tell you what this is. Sorry, I know some of you be squinting. This is a sex crime, which is the deep fake. This is the deep fake crime in Jamsil. And what this means is it's been referred from the police to the prosecutor. And he literally said, I don't understand this racial slur speak. And the racial slur he used began with a G. Well, guess what? We know people that speak the language of Korean. We know many people that speak the language of Korean. And what we found out is that this has been referred by the police to the prosecution. So what that means is, if you're playing along at home, because I know some of you are, we've got the chart. Remember this chart, guys? I keep bringing this up. I brought this up a lot, but I bring this one up because it's very important. I want you guys to memorize this. This is going to be on the test. This is very important. When things are at stage 1 or 2, they may just die. When you submit something to the police, they may ignore it. And then the police may investigate it and they may drop it. But in Korea, if you go from stage 2 to stage 3, if the police send it to the prosecutor, if you go from 2 to 3, on step 3, you have a 90% plus conviction rate, probably more like 98% conviction rate, which means they will charge you. We're at stage 3 now. We're at stage 3. He just confirmed, he literally told himself that in the Eastern District, there is a 5th charge, which has not been, the prosecutors haven't officially announced it yet, but it's coming. Which means, remember the theory I said, guys? That they're going to hit him with these little obstruction ones and they're going to trick him into pleading guilty? And then he's going to be screwed because he's a convicted criminal. And then they're going to hit him with deepfakes, which has serious jail time. That just happened. He confirmed it. And he did it because he's a drunk idiot. And the fact that he decided to do a broken, mind break, drunken stream the night of his charges, and he wanted to be this wild, crazy character, the court can't touch me, this and that, it actually backfired in his face. It is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And he doesn't even realize what these mean, what these charges are. He's just being told by Hank, oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. When you have a sexual crime a deep fake, a simple deep fake, that is serious time. For those people playing along at home, this was from earlier, but I now fixed the numbers here. Deep fakes are, he's now at stage 3. There's one of them at stage 3. Now, mind you, there's others. This is one for a female. So it's likely Bong Bong. This is likely Bong Bong's deep fake. Okay. This can be up to 5 years and 50 million won if it's not sexual, but if it's longer, if it's includes harassment, digital sexual harassment. So there's serious time on this. And there can even be more time, depending on if it goes distributing it or not, whatever. But even just possessing it is enough. So you're tacking on more jail time. And mind you, this is in a case that may take forever. Let's go back to the charges. I want to explain these real quick. Okay. Here's what happened in court. He knew about number 1. He knew about number 2 and number 3. He had no fucking clue about number 4. Literally, the face on his attorney, when they started talking about this new obstruction charge, the one I just brought up 2 days ago, this is how his lawyer looked. And him. This was literally his defense lawyer's face when they talked about the last charge. When they talked about, oh yeah, there's another obstruction charge. He's like, what? What new charge? They had no clue. It was so great. It was lovely. And I think the thing is they really don't understand what's coming at them, and they don't understand that more charges can come even now. Okay, so charge number 1, obstruction of business. So we talked about what that is for. That's for the convenience store. So charge number 1 is for the convenience store. When he was yelling at the worker and, drinking the soju when he throws the ramen, that's number 1. Can you guys guess what charge number 2, the Minor Crimes Act, is for? Is from going around with the dead fish and harassing people. And the prosecutor was very specific. The prosecutor said specifically that he was going around and harassing people with a dead fish for no reason, and it made them uncomfortable. So those things together, harassing someone with the fish, multiple people harassing them, no reason, and they felt uncomfortable. Together, he's done. Okay, let's talk about charge number 3. Charge number 3 was the bus in the subway. And this is hilarious, guys. I was talking to my friends. We may have had the first time with charge number 3, the Minor Crimes Act that was added in February. We may have had the first instance anywhere where a Korean court used the word twerking. I'm not kidding. The word twerking was used to describe this crime. I mean, literally the prosecutor said he was dancing and twerking. It was actually hilarious. It was actually really hilarious. Twerking. The Korean pronunciation is cute. I like it. So that was number 3. And they had no idea about number 4. So number 4, they had no idea about. The only people who have really mentioned it is me, and we don't know what it's for. So we don't know for charge number 4 what business they're talking about being obstructed. We have no clue. He has 2 obstruction of business claims, and they stack. So what that means is that each count can give him 5 years in prison. He has 2. So he has a maximum just from this of 10 years. And then the deep fakes could be 5, 7, even 10 themselves just for one count. So think about that. Even let's be conservative. Let's say deep fakes is 5. So now he's got up to a maximum of 15. And so even if he gets no time on one and he gets 1 year on the other and 2 years on the last, that's 3 years, guys. In addition to how long they take. Because the time doesn't start till his very last case is closed. His very last case is closed. Think about that. That's going to be a long time because his second case, the Eastern District case, hasn't even started, guys.